All right, guys, this is your self-defense techniques for phase 3, which is our red belts. And these are your 5 for this session. Number 1, standing guillotine choke. Okay, again, let's go from this side. Okay, here's what I'm doing. So the guillotine choke, for him to apply this, he needs to bend his hips forward. Okay, so I'm going to deal with the initial threat, that's the choke. I'm going to pluck and tuck because I'm going to do something, right? So I pluck towards the hands with my outside hand, plucking straight down. At the same time, I'm going to try to tuck my chin in as much as possible. All right, so that's the first initial defense. But again, that doesn't stop his hips, so I'm going to drive some front palm strikes or hand strikes right to his groin. I want his hips to stay back, so that way he cannot apply. At the same time, plucking down. So boom, okay, again, and I will drive forward. At the same time, on my drives now, if I'm hitting the palm strikes with my right hand, I want my right shoulder to come forward and through. I'm not going to drive my shoulder into his solar plexus as much as trying to scrape his ribs with it. So I'm hitting and hitting. So I'm trying to get this shoulder to pop up and through. Once I'm there, a couple different things. Okay, I can hold on to the wrist here, and I corkscrew straight up. As I stand up, I point his elbow towards the ceiling, and I rotate across, essentially breaking the wrist. Okay, a little more technical, but another version. So that was a more technical version. You can start with your pluck, tuck, and driving this shoulder through, and it's okay, instead of grabbing and finishing technique with the wrist break, just to step through and out. Okay, some people will turn and we'll go into the fight this way, or you can escape. So you got options from there. Okay, that's your number 1. Number 2 is a knife defense against a straight stab, a straight poking stab. Okay, again. Okay, so here's what's happening. Let's go from this angle. So I'm doing essentially an inside defense across. At the same time, I'm doing a body defense with my shoulder to let that knife go through. So worst case scenario is I don't get a grip on it. I at least get out of the way to where I can move out of the way. If I can follow that knife back, because he's going to probably pull it back just like that. So after I do my first initial inside defensive block, a hand comes down and clamps on the wrist and drives it into his body. I can do one hand, 2 hands on it. Okay? Bury it into his body, strike to the knee, kick the groin, whatever. From here, you're just going to clamp that wrist. Got the wrist, hand, bend it down, and hit. Again, preferably against any kind of weapon like a knife, is just keep hitting them until they drop the knife. Don't focus so much on the takeaway as much as take the fight out of him. Last time, redirect, okay, with inside defense and a body defense. Let that knife go through. Hand comes down, kind of gooseneck, and you follow that in. Again, if you want to take 2 hands, I like that because it's a better grip. Okay, strike to the groin, okay, and keep going. Knee strikes, whatever. Your combatives. From there, I can pull up on the wrist and punch down on the back of the knife hand, strip the hand out. Okay, there we go. Number 3 is gun from the front in the stomach, okay, or in front of the arm. So I'll show you 2 different versions, same defense. Okay, let's do it again. Let's go from this side again. Let's front of my arm here. So, okay, here's what's happening. Whether it's on my side or my front, it's the same defense. I'm going to take the nearest hand, come straight up, tracing my body. I'm going to grab his wrist, not the gun. Grab his wrist. So I'm grabbing here. At the same time, I'm going to do a body defense. I do not step. Remember, stepping sends my leg back first and keeps my body here. I'm going to send this area where the gun is pointed at first. Hand comes up, grabs the wrist, body goes back. Just throw your butt back. So if it does fire, it goes through. From there, I'm going to slide inward because I don't want to be in front of this still. So I redirected the line of fire, but I'm still not in a safe position. I slide straight in. This hand's going to trace my body, okay, and it comes up and grabs. Both hands are palm up. Grab the wrist, and I have the gun. From here, I'm inside the gun, so if it does fire again, I'm not in that line of fire. I'm going to pull on this hand and punch the other hand in towards his hip. So as I pull in, I punch right across the back of that thumb, right through his hip, From there, punching. If I hit him with the gun, always with the muzzle, not with the back of the gun so the muzzle points at you. Okay? From the front, let's go on this side. If they do it straight into you like this in the stomach, it's again the same thing, a little more turn. Hand comes up to grab the wrist. At the same time, I'm going to turn and get that body defense. So, seeing it from this angle, if this hand comes up, grabbing the wrist, I turn my body, and then again, this hand traces my body. I don't want to have it in front of the gun, and I slide in. Pull on the wrist, punch the hand right across the back of his thumb, right towards his hip, following up with combatives, and then moving out from there, using either the gun or running, or you have to make that decision at that point. Okay, number 4 is just a simple takedown. The main difference between this and maybe a double leg takedown or single leg takedown, which are great techniques, we just like to think of it for self-defense on the street. Mats, wrestlers can definitely go down on one knee and pull up, okay? Ground out there, asphalt, gravel, it's not going to feel so good on your knee. Okay, so if we're already in a fight, punches are going or whatever, if I decide I want to go in for the takedown, it looks something like this. From there, I can stay standing or I can follow him down. Alright, one more time. We're in that fight, going down, I decide I want to get in, and from there. Alright, it's real simple technique, that's why I call it a simple takedown, more of a street fighter's technique. Here's just some tips for you. So when you go in, you're going to squat down. Keep your hands in front of you. Don't squat like this so you take a knee or a punch. Hands are still in. Your ear is right on his heart. Okay, I don't want to throw my head off to the side. 2 reasons. If he knows anything, he's going to guillotine me there. The second reason is if you go down and land, your head is going to hit the cement or asphalt as well. You're going to hit your face right on that. So think of your ear pressed on his heart. You're going to drive with your head, but more so with your hips. So once the head is here, your hands, simple technique, just going to grab the back of the knees. You're going to drive up and forward with your legs. Up and forward. So once my hand's here, I drive up and drive down. If I land, I want to go into this position, I can. Or better yet, if you land standing, maybe you kick to the groin and go from there. Okay? Your last one, number 5, is this hip throw. So from here, if we're in a position, it looks like this. Okay, again, let's go from this angle. All right, here's what we're doing. Think of a box step. You're going to step right across this leg, and then the other leg goes here. So if you did maybe a hook punch, or you're already in the clinch, you threw some knee strikes, you're in tight like that, works really good from there. Step across. As this other foot steps across, take and go around his hip. Think of grabbing the back of his belt, okay? And your hip has to be, your right hip has to be on his right hip. If it's on his left, he's just going to step over. So you want to go all the way across, like that. Let's go from this angle. So again, if I was in a clinch, maybe up here, okay? Or maybe you just threw a punch, boom, and I went through it. One, my right hip on his right hip. Grab around the back of his belt. You're going to lift your legs, throw him across, not straight. So think of his right shoulder going to my left foot. As I pick up, I pull him across and around. That's your hip throw. Those are your self-defense techniques for this session.